The purpose of a visit to a historic site or a museum and gallery is to give a child an experience that they won't forget. And the facilitator will help them understand the magic of the place in which they find themselves. If the session can be taught in the same way in a classroom, then it's not what the Sandford Award wants. I think engagement and enjoyment are very close. If the lesson is really well planned with lots of different ways of learning, the children will enjoy it, and that's how they'll be engaged.
When children come to visit us, we aim to give them an in-depth experience of the 1840s workhouse.
I always hope that when the kids leave, they feel that the thing was based on something real. They've not been told stories. They feel like it was engaging and they feel like it was fun.
What we're looking for is empathy. We're asking the children, we're asking a lot of the children, asking a lot of modern children who don't really understand about Victorian poverty to put themselves back in those times and really understand what it might have felt like to be poor.
The way that you plan a visit is very important to its success and the way that the children are engaged. They need to move when they're getting bored, and they need to have a variety of different ways of learning.
When I first came here, I was quite undecided about the value of role play, and it was seeing the effect that it had on children, how deeply engaged they were when they were immersed in the morning's activities, and the way that they were often full of questions, the evaluations we get that when teachers said, oh, they were talking about it on the bus all the way home. It's exciting learning, it's active learning.
This is the absolute nub of all we do. It's the connection with the past, it's primary evidence, and it's the magic of what we're teaching about. You can have pieces of Roman rock, you can have real paintings. Usually the building that you're in will be your main resource.
The site is everything for this visit. We're very lucky that the building is almost empty, so it's a natural stage set. The children get changed away from the building in the classrooms, off-site, and then as soon as they walk through the doors into the yards, they become immersed in the 1840s.
The great thing about schools when they come here and do say the Romans is it's an important Roman city. So you can say to the kids, these are the kind of finds you would find under your feet now. And the Vikings as well. People think of, Vikings and York and, raiding monasteries and so forth. But Lincoln's an incredibly important Viking trading settlement, and it's lovely showing them the stuff that's under their feet there.
The children understand that the hands of somebody from the past have touched these things and that they can see them. And chronology is so difficult with children that is a marvellous way of making them understand it. I'm actually a maker. I make ceramics and textiles, and from replica objects you can gain a huge amount of knowledge about the way that people lived, what their abilities, how they organise things. Children are usually makers, and it's a marvellous direct form of explaining. Archive material, incredibly important. This can be one of the great ways of teaching a big broad range of subjects, because if you have maps, you can teach geography. How do they get to the site? How do they understand the site? If you have letters, you can understand about writing, communicating, physical writing. It's usually the way into storytelling, which is the great asset for children.
The artefacts, the use of the artefacts is brilliant, but I want to also use written stuff and tell them. So, for example, we do a play about Athelred. There talks about how Athelred got to the throne and how after the death of the previous king there was a red cloud like fire, bloody cloud in the sky. And I thought this would be great. So what we could do is use real sources to make the play work. So I get a kid dressed as a monk and they read out extracts of the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle and about 5 other Anglo-Saxon sources. There's poems, there's eulogies, sermons and stuff, little extracts of it. And meanwhile, the rest of them are acting out what's happened.
physical things to do are always a good thing to intersperse between written or spoken word.
You see a little spark in their eye when they realise it's going to be, that you're trusting them. So if you get an Anglo-Saxon sword and you say, take that Anglo-Saxon sword and go over to the table, you see them look at you as if to say, I'm allowed to pick this up. And sometimes they look at the teacher and you go, yes.
We allow them to use the pumps. We show them the oakum. We talk about oakum picking. They will have a school lesson. They will use slates.
The kids suddenly go, this is real things that connect to people.
You can do drama, you can do music, you can have grinding herbs, you can do cooking, you can do making mosaics, you can do drawing. The list is endless, and that will relate very much, obviously, to your own site and your own ingenuity. When you're teaching a session around your site, it's very important to have spoken and informative sessions interspersed with something to do. That gives the children a way of demonstrating their interest and engagement with the topic.
Kids look at the images of people in prehistoric times and, you know, they're a caveman, they think they're dragging their knuckles along the floor, and we point out to them that, you know, they could light a fire. Can you light a fire in the wild? And they're like, no, they could hunt an animal and skin an animal.
They take away a lot from the day. I know that they remember a lot because I've met children who have visited on school visits and have told me everything in detail.
And they suddenly realise that these are human beings, these have skills, and these people have value, and they're not just freakish characters in sort of like this drama called the past.
An enthusiastic and well-presented session about a site will engage children in a way that one will hope that they will remember. The really crucial thing is that you, as the facilitator, have planned the session really well, that it has proper learning criteria and that it's structured in a way that responds to what the teacher needs. Once you've done that, the really important thing is that when the children arrive, they think they're having a good time, they enjoy what they're learning. And if you've done the learning structure, then they can enjoy themselves, and so can you.